Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women. That is good. That is good.
Welcome to the Flying Monkeys Wargaming Podcast, where if wargaming was easy, it would be your mom. If you're listening at work, you probably shouldn't listen at work, or get yourself a damn good set of headphones. So if you're listening at home, don't listen around your kids, or just don't have kids and the problem solved. We are a weekly tabletop wargaming podcast. We focus on competition scene in the Midwest for Warhammer 40k. We also talk a little bit of Age of Sigmar. We're getting more into that because everybody's burned out on 40k, but here we are. So this episode we talk about how our games went at Show Me Showdown. We talk a little bit about Age of Sigmar because Alex is on tonight. And then we actually, instead of just bitching about Ad Mech, we offer solutions for Ad Mech. So how's that? Instead of just bitching about 40k, we offer advice and what our thoughts are on how to fix 40k. So I hope you guys enjoy. Give us some feedback, shoot us some stuff back. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow us, download the podcast, do all that good stuff. I do need to get together a Patreon giveaway. I have not mailed out my shit from last month, so sorry folks, bear with me, it will get out. It's some stickers and whatnot. You guys should enjoy it. So here's the episode.
Yes, that is a thing that exists. Yeah.
I got 30 of them. I didn't know if they're good or not.
Out of the Dominion box, right?
No, like the older stuff. Yeah.
Gotcha.
They repackaged them, so obviously they're still in the line.
Yeah.
I got half the Dominion box. I'm thinking about getting another one just so I can have two sets of the orcs and play around with converting the Stormcast. Some of the Stormcast models are freaking dope, but everybody wants them, so I'm gonna stay away from them.
Yeah, the new models are pretty dope.
Stormcast line is it's up there with one of the GW's best lines.
Well, I think the new stuff is super good. Some of the old stuff looks dated now.
Liberators are super frumpy and just kind of not great. But the newer stuff is awesome. The fucking new models are the only reason I beat Charles this week, so...
Nice. Alex and I went through my garage for some stuff, and I found a little bit of Stormcast, and I was like, no, you have to take it all. Like, you have to take all the Stormcasts.
Just take all of it.
All right, guys, so we can get to recording here, get to rolling. Flying Monkeys Wargaming Podcast, where if wargaming was easy, it would be your mom. Your main host, Bam here, infamous, hated by the whole state of Texas. Ready for another week. And you hear 2 weeks in a row, man. Proud of the dude. My boy Duncalicious back on the cast.
Yeah, life is starting to get a little bit of a rhythm, so... Actually
hitting GTs and making the games. And then you guys heard the King of Salt, my dude, Alex Kuhn. What's happening, Alex?
Oh, hey, guys. I'm back.
Yeah.
Salty.
And actually, I think Alex used to be the reigning King of Salt. Now Dan's the reigning King of Salt. So
no, I'm not the king. I just speak the truth.
Yeah, I agree. I was never a King of Salt. I just also spoke the truth.
I guess we got two of the Prophets of Salt.
Prophets of Salt.
Dan motherfucking Salmons. What's up, Dan?
Not much. Just enjoying this nice, new game of 40k that we have. That's got day one DLCs and it's pay to win. So.
Hey, if you already had this shit, it wasn't pay to win. So.
I'm gonna tell you motherfuckers right now that if you're a Space Wolves player, you've been doing DLC day one since fucking 2 or 3 years ago. So get wrecked, nerds. But yeah, it's I guess this week we're gonna do something a little bit different. Alex is gonna I think towards the end we'll get into Age of Sigmar a little bit with Alex because he's got a few games under his belt. Talk about the differences between the old editions, what he likes about the new one. He's an experienced 40k player, so he's got insight into both worlds. We'll probably kick off by going through our Show Me Showdown experience. I do not want to do the usual game-by-game thing. I think we'll just go through with Duncan, Dan, and myself and just briefly comment on our whole weekend and the experience of the whole weekend and how the event went down for us. And then we'll get into, instead of just complaining about Ad Mech, Dan has been working, we've been working a little bit on what we think could maybe actually fix Ad Mech. So instead of just complaining about
the problem and bitching about the problem. We're gonna do like my granddad said and try and come up with some solutions for the problem. So we're
And bitch about it at the same time.
And bitch about it at the same time. But yeah, so that's kind of the agenda for today. We're all a little bit hungover from Show Me Showdown, but it was a good event. Nate had a super cool venue this year, and I was pretty happy about it. Let's do. Well, I guess we can probably do my weekend first because I had the worst record out of all of us. Which
That's
Duncan,
first, I think.
Duncan, I know it's first in a long time for my group, anyways. I know Dan's usually higher than I am, but the rest of you fools usually aren't, and it was a humbling experience to play Ad Mech twice. So that was a big, I lost to Cookie, which losing the Cookie is fine because Cookie's he's a GT winner. He's a great player, and we were like 1-1 in our series, so we both know that we can beat each other, and or 2-1 or whatever we were. But Cookie got the win, so that was a good game, and he deserved it. But the Ad Mech players can go fuck themselves.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So, dude, I hit everything. Well, I guess let's get into my weekend. So round 1, I played on stream because Jenny Merton challenged me, and Jenny is a sweetheart, but I clubbed her like a seal.
Yeah.
And we had a fucking fun game though. Like it was a fun game, and I respect her because I can tell like she's just playing for the fun of it. She's a great sportsman, and she knows the game, knows her rules, and she's better at chess clock management than her husband is.
Nice, get him.
It's if Jason's out there watching, I love you, bro, but your wife's better at the chess clock than you are. So you can watch that first game we played on the Lord Marshall stream, and we had a really good, fun game. We laughed, we had some jokey moments, and we had a pretty good time. And so I won that game. I scored 90-some points, which I probably shouldn't have done. I should have probably tried to catch a yellow to submarine.
Flying too close to the sun.
Yeah. And I went into round 2 and managed to play a Dark Angels player who was way too confident with his list. And come turn 2, he realized he wasn't going to be able to win that game, and I got a 90-some to 20-something. And then that's when I realized like mistakes were made, and I had to play Scott Thompson with Ad Mech on one of the sponsored tables, which is not great. So basically, I spent a turn picking up my shit, and
right.
And then basically Scott and I figured out what I could have scored for the rest of the game after 2 turns of picking up my shit, and that was my Ad Mech experience. And that's the weirdest thing. Like, it's not even playing against that army. It truly feels like your only interaction is rolling your saves and picking up your models, because you're not killing anything, and every time you try to kill something or go at something, it's like, I'm going to stack these 8 different buffs and use these 4, 1 CP strats, and then this free coin I got over here, and you can just get fucked trying to get that army off the board, and it just kind of was like, damn it, and so then I got the L, finished first day 2-1, turned around day 2, got Cookie round 4, and like I said, I had fun playing Cookie, even though I lost, and I got too aggressive, and he capitalized on me getting too aggressive, and basically ran away with the game. So that was fun, but I did not get the win, and I thought, okay, now I'm 2-2, so I'm going to submarine down a bit and maybe play at a better level of water, and then got faced off with Ad Mech again. So
yeah, that's weird. Did you get like paired up? Like, were you the top 2-2 guy?
I don't know.
Okay.
I might have gotten paired up, but I played him, and basically I hit everything. It was, Dawn of War deployment is trash. I'm tired of Dawn of War. Like, I've played it for 20-some years. We should get rid of it. And Dawn of War against fucking Ad Mech, there's no place to hide, man. It's like the whole board can line up and fucking blow you off of it. And so there was a lot of like, these units are going to take their pregame move, and then I get to go first, and I'm going to move again, and now I can see all your stuff. Have fun picking up your models. And the dude was cool at least. He at least bought me some whiskey. And then I went into round 6, and I took it out on poor Jack from Frozen North, who was playing Death Guard. And but that dude is hilarious, and he just kind of, I don't know, man. He reminds me of like the metalheads back in the '80s and '90s, but he's a young kid, and he was just there just to fucking have a good time, and we were just cracking up and laughing about it. And we had a fun game, and so overall, my experience was pretty good. Again, I feel like I got robbed on the paint scores. I showed up with an army that I hobbied the shit out of that I thought looked really nice. And a lot of people were complimenting it, walking by, making mentions about things, and pointing out freehand, and pointing out basing, and pointing out my models, and telling me how good it looks for a Space Wolves army. And then I placed like 50th in the painting, so I was let down. I was like, man, and Matt fucking Neely, who just slopped contrast paint on stuff and borrowed Dan's models, got like 20 spots higher than me on the fucking paint thing. So I was like, cool. And then I saw Dan Cornwell scored higher than I did. And I was like, all right, I guess this just isn't meant to be.
Guess I'll just go fuck myself.
Yeah, it's like, I hate, man, when Ben talked about like hobbying the fuck out of something and then showing up at the GT and getting shit on and not ever wanting to do it again, like I completely feel that. And I'm going to try and not lose my motivation. I don't think it was Nate's fault. I think it was who he had judging and kind of how our rubric works. But that was kind of my big letdown of the weekend. But I got to, Laura came with me, so I got to hang out with my lady and got to do crazy hotel room stuff and get around Kansas City. And my brother's out of the hospital and up around, so my brother stopped by a couple times, and actually he met us for lunch one day. So
yeah, must have been nice seeing him.
It's good to see him living. So
yeah,
it was a good weekend all around. So
yeah, you know how I knew you were just like kind of done with the weekend, Brian?
How's that?
I remember going piss one of the rounds, and you were out in the hotel lobby, and you were sitting there. Loud as fuck lobby, people running in and out of that place, dead ass asleep, taking a nap. I was just like, yep, you ain't about this weekend right now.
That is my mutant power. Dan has seen it manifested. So there's videos floating around out there about me being able to sleep in noisy environments. So Tim Royer's talking to you. But it was a good weekend though. But I was done. I think I was done about 3/4 of the way through the weekend, and might just be getting too old to be doing the GT thing, man. So it's
never. Don't say that.
Don't say that.
Let's do Duncan. You walked out of there.
GTs.
What's that, Alex?
Dude's 20 years older than Bam doing GTs.
Yeah. Well, I think
if I lost some weight, it would definitely help my back. So I need to. Yeah. That's on me. I need to probably do that and see how it goes.
Get you a little scooter and just drive it around.
Pull a John Cook.
Yeah, exactly. Get one of those knee scooters.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. I just need to be less fat. But so Duncan, man, pulled off another 4-2, man.
Yeah, I mean, I did take a broken army, but to be fair, I had the army fucking before they got good.
I am going to say you pulled a 4-2 with the 5-1 list.
Yeah, that's just a pre-bandwagon. So.
Pre-bandwagon? No, they were okay. They were a good army beforehand. I had a lot of that shit too. Bought already, waiting for the codex to see what was good, and I just happened to pick up a shit ton of stuff that was good. So, anyways, my first game, I did want to go over that one. I won that one by a fucking point. I played Eli Lister in his Chaos Army, and like my list is good. It's Ad Mech, but it wasn't after the 6 games. It clearly wasn't the optimal build at all. But yeah, I played Eli from Topeka. Great dude. It was a really close game, fun game. The one thing that I would mention is that like Nate was like busting our ass to get through those fucking games because I felt a little flustered round 1 because I think he started the time like as soon as people hit the table, and I don't know, it felt like we didn't quite get as much time as we normally would, but we got through all 5 of our rounds. It was just busting ass to do so. So I won the first.
Yeah, that first round and lunch felt really rushed and hurried. Like there was some kind of time mismanagement. I wasn't sure what exactly happened.
Yeah, my butt was puckered. I was like, God damn! Like, I get it. You know, like we've done this shit before too. But I was like, ah, fuck. All right, let's go. So round 2, I played JT, and I played as Tyranids. I went second against JT. But like with Ad Mech, like you can just hide so much of your shit. Like the chickens are so important. You can just fucking. There's a lot of ruins, so you can just hide that shit anywhere on the board. And he played those big ass. They're not Demicarons. What are the
duels?
Yeah, and they couldn't hide from me. So like, just touch the ruin and then they just die. It's stupid. So, and plus like infiltrators and rust stalkers are just so good at picking on like little units. They just have so many attacks and so many shots, especially against Tyranids.
It might be because they're 7 or 8 points undercosted.
There is that. Infiltrators get 25 shots for 85 points. So it's only strength 3, but it's still 25 shots. But then round 3, I played Patrick McNeely, excuse me. Patrick is from Connecticut, but I think he's like from New York or something like that. He has a thick like East Coast accent, and it's hilarious to hear him talk. And he's a big fan of the show. And I was just fucking with him the entire time. He was fucking with me, and I had a great game with him. He played White Scars, and when we first showed to the table, there was a decent amount of ruins on the table, but there was some trees, some like industrial structures and this and that. But they decided to pull all of that terrain and put it onto the stream table, and the stream table became our table, which was completely ruins, right? There wasn't a single piece up not ruins, which is fine. You know, I understand that like the meta fucking needs that terrain, right? Because otherwise Ad Mech just blow you off the board. But in this game against that army, it was bad because I couldn't fucking get angles to anything. I couldn't see anything, and I went first, so he just hit his entire army, and I kind of just had to sit there with my dick in my hand until turn 3 when the White Scars do the White Scars thing. I lost that game by 15 points. Patrick is a better player, obviously, because he won, but he was doing a lot of pinning throughout that game that it probably cost me, command points and this and that to get out of those pinnings. But overall, he just played better than I did. So I lost that one by 15. Round 4, this is the game I want to talk about the most. Is his name is Britton Rexcoat. He played Dark Angels, and the Ad Mech have the extra movement Doctrina that you always save for the last turn, and I ended up saving the extra movement, and that won me the game by like 4 or 5 points because I waited, got the extra movement, was able to steal the objective right at the end of the game. So that felt good to like fucking actually remember something and actually make a good play. So yeah, I really enjoyed playing Britain too. He's from Iowa. I think the Rolling Sixes group. I think other guys from the Monkeys played the Rolling Sixes, and yeah, they're a great club and a bunch of nice guys to play against. So, and competitive too. So the next game, I'm trying to remember here. Oh, I played. Let's see. Sorry, I was trying to remember. Steven Schimmer. He played a bunch of knights. He was from Texas, and he was like, oh, the Monkeys and Team Texas, they're not a huge fan of each other. And I was like, dude, I don't know. I don't give a shit. Like, I don't even know you, so let's just judge each other based on how this game goes. And we had a great game. Steven's a really good guy. He thought I had 10 last cannon chickens, but I had 6 and then 4 with auto cannons. So the dude, Steven, decided to reserve 2 of his knights in case he didn't go first. And I was putting my shit on the board, deploying all that stuff. And he's like, "Are those last cannon chickens?" I'm like, "Nah, they're auto cannon chickens." And he just like stared at me like for a good minute. And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, man. Sorry." So turn 2, it was over with Ad Mech because I went first and killed his big knight and then killed his armigers and shit like that. So then the last round I played Robert Moreland. He's also from Texas. I think he put on the stream, played Ad Mech. His Ad Mech list was better than mine. So yeah, he ended up winning that game. It was really tight throughout the game, but I actually kind of wanted to go second that match, and he ended up going second. So he was able to snag all the objectives right at the end. And yeah, I don't know. There's not too much to say when it's a mirror match. I mean, yeah, it was kind of a sad way to end it after going 4-1. I really wanted to, I don't know, play maybe not Ad Mech, but that's all right.
Don't give a fuck. You deserved it.
But hey, I went 4-2. That was my goal. I hadn't had much practice with this complicated ass army. I felt like I did a decent enough job at it, so I'm not upset. And I had fun.
I'm glad you finished well.
Yeah.
And I hope you ride it out after the nerf that inevitably comes.
I definitely will. I'm happy with this book quite a bit. And then the last thing I want to say is fucking Matt. Every time at a goddamn GT, except for Iron Halo last year, he always manages to sneak out a few more points than I do, and he did it again this year, little bastard.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the deal is at fucking Iron. It's like last round is like his I'm gonna lay down and die round. And then every other tournament, it's like I'm gonna sneak out these extra points and find some pride.
And he played all monkeys too on Sunday, so it was like okay, bastard.
Club and teammates. So
yeah.
I managed to dodge monkeys all weekend.
Yeah, me too. I was really happy about that. I'm hoping. I guess my last point is that once Ad Mech do get nerfed, I'm looking forward to figuring out the the new efficiencies, because there's there's tons of good units in that book. It's just glaringly obviously units that you have to take. So
yeah, well, whenever they hopefully touch, I think infiltrators are gonna get ignored. You guys can ride that one out, and
I hope so too.
Yeah, everybody's just gonna go to breachers when chickens get nerfed. So.
Breachers a little less ridiculous.
Yeah. All right, Dan. What about your weekend, man?
Let's see. I took Sisters and then Invictor Warsuits, and so round one I played against an Orc player, Nathan Blankenship, and he had a Burn Obama, which scares the hell out of my army. So I had to.
You know how it feels, motherfucker.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just put a bunch of stuff in reserve, so.
Oh, okay. Fine.
Yeah, so I put a bunch of stuff in reserve and was kind of able to. I basically didn't really give him anything great to blow up on turn one, and so then I killed a plane turn one, and then he took Rod, and my list had a bunch of small little units, so I was able to just deny him that and kind of slowly attrition. So I was.
Can I make a comment real quick, Dan? That's something I miss with my list. I should have thought about is having, like you said, those little units to just go out and do that.
Oh yeah, little 5-mans.
Yeah, I need to do that.
Yeah, but I mean that's where I dropped all my repentia and took 2-man Death Cults and a 2-man Crusader squad, and they were for just denying people deep strike. They were good all weekend. But he's playing orcs, and I mean I know exactly what everything does, so I was able to pull that one off. Round two, I played against David Villarreal with his Ad Mech, and pretty much in order to beat Ad Mech, I need good terrain, and I got to go first. And so I did have good.
Dude,
I had pretty good terrain. Go ahead.
That round, I turned and looked, and it was you playing David, and there was Ben Sherwin playing Nate Bates.
Yep.
And I was like, this is gonna be my favorite round this weekend.
Fucking perfect storm is about to happen.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I had solid terrain, and then it was a good scenario, and then I went first, and whatever that little pregame 3-inch move they can make on their rangers.
Yeah.
He made a really, really big mistake of moving forward towards me. So if he didn't do that, I could probably pick up one 20-man squad.
Did you go first, Dan?
Yeah, I went first, and so he moved forward towards me, and I don't think he just expected the Zephyrim, how much damage they actually can do with fully buffs on them. So I was able to pick up 2 20-mans, and it was picked up 2. Well, I killed the whole 20-man and then left another one from shooting down to 2 models. But then it was I just massively abused the terrain plus Celestine and Vol, and it was whatever the one where you got to control the center, and so
Direct assault.
Yep. So I was able to I just sat on the middle of the board the entire game and just kind of dared him to come at me, but there's really nothing he could do. So I ended up winning that one fairly well. He did and the funny thing is, he even talked about it. He forgot a bunch of his command phase abilities, but then later in the game, he's like, "Yeah, it didn't really matter." And I was like, "No." I said, if you just would have moved 3 inches back instead of towards me, I'm pretty sure he'd have won that game because he'd have had a whole extra 20 man.
Yeah, I don't think I ever, if I didn't go first, I don't think I ever moved my Rangers forward. They either moved back or they stayed where they were.
Yeah. So, and then round 3, I played Ben on the stream, and we were actually going to be playing on like a different table, which I will say had much better terrain.
Yeah, that's the one that fucking got put on my table.
Well, yeah, probably. Well,
no, that is because round 3
the red
they
one.
switched it out. Yes.
Well, no, we weren't gonna play. They switched. We didn't play on that. They must have switched something else around because we played on.
Yeah, they took my table and gave it to the stream table.
It was terrible terrain.
Yeah, for you.
Oh yeah, it was terrible. Yeah, it was terrible for me. So Ben could literally, and I'm not exaggerating. You can go watch the stream. He was shooting me in my deployment zone.
That's what I'm saying.
Where I was trying to hide from his deployment zone.
Yeah.
So, and I get that they were trying to do like the sponsored tables on stream, but I don't like that at all. Especially when the Nate had advertised train. There were some other issues with, some other sponsored tables, which I'm sure we can touch on later. But yeah, it wasn't even a game. Even if I had gone, Ben went first that game. Even if I had gone first that game, I would have still lost because there was literally nowhere for me to move up the board without just getting blasted off by 80 Rangers or whatever it was. Yeah. So that was it. Just and in that game, he actually never even had to bring in his sterilizer. So he played the game 200 and then trivially tabled me. So its rain was definitely in his favor. So that definitely played a part of it, but it should never be that lopsided. But anyway, round 4, I played against a Death Guard player, Scott McKelney, and I went first that game. I literally ran my whole army at him. I stopped him. It was a Battle Lines mission. I stopped him from scoring primary till turn 5, just because I was running. I ended the game with 4 models left. So that was the only. I think that's the only game I've ever lost Celestine. So because she just went so deep. So, but ended up pulling that one out. Then I played Casey, butcher his last name, Sherrill, something like that. He was playing Zinch and Sisters that with still getting the sacred rights to be able to deny on a 5-up.
That probably wrecked him.
Yeah, I went first, and he had a big horror blob, and I was able to pick up the entire horror blob, and then charge in and kill his demon prince turn 1, and then touch Ahriman, and then he tried to get his spells off the Ahriman and then warp time away, but I think I failed to 5-up deny, but then I used the stratagem to deny him, so Ahriman couldn't leave combat. So that one was pretty brutal. That's kind of my list was designed to go first and win, specifically against more Drukhari and maybe have a chance against Ad Mech. But yeah, you don't want to having a big 30-man horror screen is not what you wanted to have against me. So so I took that one down, and then the last one I played Jason Merton, and he's playing Pure Sisters. So this one was pretty interesting, just from the fact that it kind of confirmed what I already felt and knew, basically, that Sisters, their whole shtick used to be consistency because they could get Miracle Dice to be consistent. But with how Miracle Dice work now, their early game Miracle Dice, turn 1 and turn 2, is just not good. It's just not there, and you don't have the rerolls, and you don't have the extra Miracle Dice every turn. So their whole big thing kind of being the consistency Miracle Dice give you, but you don't have consistent Miracle Dice or enough of them. So his Miracle Dice, honestly, just didn't play that big of a role in the game. So,
Get good, scrub.
yeah. But it was that one. I was almost out. I ran my clock way more down than he did. So, but it was a good game. It was vital intel, and so it was fine. But that was my event. So I ended up went 5-1. I think I got 6th. So, and the funny thing is day 2, I literally was like, I've got to score pretty much, near maximum points where I was going to drop and head home because there was a big storm that came through and a lot of trees were down. So we just got power back on last night. So.
Man, so you had to play Ad Mech. Oh, I guess you did play Ad Mech twice. Never mind.
Yeah, I played Ad Mech twice, and I wanted to actually fight Drakari and never fought Drakari.
Yeah, I never did either. I was kind of surprised by that.
No, it was mostly a good event. Well run.
Good. It was. I look forward to it. I think Nate said he's going to stick it out at that venue next year. So
excellent venue. I mean,
it was a good venue. I like staying there. Other than the baseball team kids, couldn't go up and down the elevator without pushing all the fucking buttons for every single goddamn floor. It was.
That would probably be annoying.
There was some long waits to get up to the 7th floor or get down from the 7th floor a couple times. So, well, with that being said, it was a good Show Me Showdown. Dan had a strong finishing. Duncan had a strong outing, and I did the 500 baseball thing with an army. I should have known better. So,
just can't quit you.
Can't quit you, dude. That army had been wrecking face at RTTs and dojo at the shop and.
But I mean, two of your losses are to Ad Mech, and then Cookie is, she's been playing Custodes almost for a year straight, so and virtually that same list, so he's got that thing down to a T. So I mean, in that case, it's just hard. It's hard to even, validate that tournament to a point.
Yeah, I'd like to. I don't know that. Like, I didn't get to play Dark Eldar either, and I played against Dark Eldar a few times with my list, and it does pretty well. There's a lot of, fight first, ineligible to fight shenanigans that fucks with theirs, and a lot of stuff that does a lot of attacks and close combat that is good at killing elves, and, it's pretty good against Death Guard. I did get the Death Guard matchup, so that was nice. But, yeah, no, I had a good time. So let's get into a little bit of... So we're not killing Alex with boredom tonight because he agreed to come on. But let's get into a little bit of Sig. Yeah. So let's get into a little bit of Sigmar talk. Just a little bit of what Alex's thoughts are of the new edition. And maybe a brief rundown of what he thinks is good, what he's looking to see, or what he thinks will shake out, and then we'll get into bitching about Ad Mech and our Ad Mech fixes. So Dominion dropped.
Yep.
And I'll turn it to you from there.
Well, to start with, it's playable, which is more than I can say for how I feel about 40k right now. So that's a start.
And it's my understanding the double turn dynamic's still there.
Yeah, double turn's still there, but however, caveat. There's a caveat to that where if in the 3rd round of the game, if you are the player that is going second, right? So it changes up kind of that mechanic of, well, I'm going to grab the double turn. You now have a choice because the person that goes second gets to fuck with objectives, like on the table. Yes. So now there's a reason to not necessarily just be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to take the double turn every time, right? So at least there's that, right? It's something. But I mean, I'll still probably take it every time. So there's that. They're trying, I guess, at least. So I do wish that mechanic was not there. However, they have changed the hero phase drastically to where you get a lot more interaction, even on your opponent's turn. Like heroes can heal themselves. Like one hero and every player turn, one of your heroes can heal themselves if they're wounded. So if you have a guy that's all fucked up and your opponent double turns you, at least you could be like, well, I'm going to give this dude some wounds back, so maybe he isn't going to die.
Okay.
So it actually makes a a lot of characters are quite a bit more survivable than they used to be because of that rule. There's just a lot of choices. The way that they're doing secondaries now, I kind of like. There's a list of like 10 or 8 or something like that right now, and they're all different. And you pick it at the start of your player turn what you're going to try to accomplish, but you only get to pick each objective once per game. So if you pick it and you get it, cool, you score the points. If you pick it and fuck it up, it's gone forever. So I kind of like that too, because it makes you actually make a choice that actually has meaningful on the long-term score of your game. So,
isn't there the downside of that though? That I heard that a lot of people are like, you don't want to take like crappy monsters in your army or something because then it just gives up that secondary.
That is true. Don't take crappy monsters right now. Monsters, apparently, I didn't know this until I played Charles, but like right now, because of the tournament packet, the way it is in the plane that it's in, if you kill a monster on your turn, you just get a victory point. That is the only way you can get those victory points is by killing a monster, and that's above and beyond everything else. So monsters are a double-edged sword because they like can earn you more points, but they also give up points, right? So yes, taking shitty ones is probably not the way to go right now. So I don't know. We'll see. The first books I think are going to mean a lot because Be'lakor is fucking stupid right now in Sigmar, and some other people need some sauce. So. But I mean, overall, it's really fun. Like, the back and forth is fine. Unlike fucking 40k, it's not a game of rerolls all over the place. Like, rerolls are super sparing. It's way more common to have, like, a +1 to something buff than it is to get rerolls to anything. So...
Makes the games much faster.
Well, it's faster, but it's a little less lethal, right? Because, like, it happened to both of us when I played yesterday, or Tuesday, rather. You come in with your big swinging dick character, and you get a bad roll, and they completely fucking whiff. Because that is just a thing that happens in Sigmar. And he did it, and then it came my turn, and I immediately did it right after with my big swinging dick character. So, like, it's not, you can't ever just, there's so many things that are just not foregone conclusions. Like, you know, as opposed to 40k where you're like, well, I'm on 2s rerolling 1s, and I'm going to reroll fucking half my wounds too, so here you go.
So let's just save ourselves some time and...
Right, there's so many die rolls in 40k that are just literally foregone conclusions that you can just as easily be like, okay, cool, dude, I know the math on this, let's carry on with our lives. And that doesn't really seem to happen in Sigmar for the most part. So...
Okay.
I mean, it's fun. I'm digging it so far. So.
Their app is better.
Yeah, for now. We'll see.
Yeah.
They're changing apps. Apparently, they're getting rid of the Azure and changing it to something else.
Yeah, it's all going to fall underneath the Warhammer Plus gimmick. So
yeah,
I've been
shall see.
I've been sticking the tip in a little bit, just trying to learn some more about AOS, and
careful with the tip.
Yeah, just slip it all the way in. So, but I mean, it does sound better for sure than it used to be. It sounds like the competitive aspect of it is a little better. So,
real quick, how do you feel about terrain, Alex? Is it more of a factor this edition?
Only I think because they sort of in the tournament packet that they have put out kind of require you to use the special terrain, like the terrain rules, and they have rebalanced them to make them not fucking stupid. So that part is good. Yeah, I would say it's more of a part now than it was before. It doesn't really affect movement. It does kinda, because you have to measure vertical distance in Sigmar like all the time, and it's all hills and shit like that, and the coherency rules are way more strict even than 40k. So, because 40k it's 2 inches, right? I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sigmar is 1 inch. To include if you're over 5, you need to be within 1 inch of 2 models. So hordes really have to bunch up. So yeah, they've kind of rebalanced a lot of stuff. Like they've kept hordes in check from like just being able to swarm all over everything any way they want and throw 1 million attacks. Like they're way more conservative. Like even 20-man units. Dudes are having the couple of games I played. Both people have had hordes in their lists, and they like are never getting more than like 12 dudes attacking at a time.
Oh,
like
okay.
ever. Like it's so hard to even with the consolidate kind of however you want. It's a little more liberal with consolidation. It's really hard to like legally wrap units around to get a pile of attacks.
And then range is still a thing on melee weapons, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So spears are always going to be better than like swords for number of attacks.
And Dan, I talked over you. I apologize.
I don't even remember what I was saying.
I started with just the tip, and then you went somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, as from a 40k perspective, from somebody who has not played AOS since the first edition, it does sound better. I definitely kind of waiting. I mean, I've been cranking out my 40k armies pretty hard, so I'm probably gonna try to get my orcs done before I mess with it, and that way it gives it time to get some books out for AOS and kind of see how they are doing with that aspect of it, rather than because I mean, we know where they're doing with 40k books.
40k, yeah. We'll see. It's going to be really telling end of this month, early August, when those first two books drop, as they are planned right now. That'll be a pretty good indicator, I think, of the direction they want to go.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, fucking who knows, right? Because Space Marines and Necrons, everyone was like, these books are pretty decent. Okay, that's neat. And then like 3 months later, we're spiraling down the hole. So.
Yep.
I've definitely had more fun with it than I have with 40k in the last few months. So.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the 800-pound cyborg gorilla in the room.
Whoa. Before we do that, I want to touch one thing. Just because, let's just talk 2 seconds about Train. So, just because FLG put out their, did you guys see their Lone Star Open thing?
I did, yeah.
So, what FLG, the route that they're going for their super majors, at least on their next one for Lone Star Open, is player place terrain. And it's a little different than like Adepticon, because there's whoever gets an attacker defender, whatever defender picks one side of the board, and they get a certain preset amount of certain pieces of terrain, and their opponent gets certain pieces of terrain, and it's pretty damn equal. There might be ones, you get one, you get this piece, and you get this similar but slightly different other piece, but it's pretty similar. And then you take turns deploying it. So there is some nuance with how their terrain rules are. So the good thing about it is you can actually take a fortification, because you can leave yourself a spot to put the damn thing. So that's the one benefit I see of that system. But the big downside, and the thing that I don't like, and this is as somebody who owns FLG terrain, the biggest problem with a lot of the FLG terrain, specifically like some of the Gothic runes, is they're big ass buildings. Their footprint's probably like 6 inches by 8 inches, or 7 inches by 9 inches, something like that. They're pretty sizable, but they're all open windows. They're all exposed windows, and so, we're calling the shot now. Ad Mech is going to win Lone Star Open, because you cannot move inside that terrain, and without getting shot, because you can't hide at all, because there's nowhere to, because nothing's blocked off. And that's that was kind of the problem I had with mine and Ben's game, and some of I think a lot of the sponsored tables were, some of them had stuff with no windows on it, but a lot of it that was just ITC, or some of the other sets were all open windows. So it's weird, because the bigger that base is, and the worse it actually is to play on. And I don't think anyone wants to go back to magic boxes, but if you have terrain like that, take some freaking plastic card or some popsicle sticks, and glue some damn shit over the windows.
Damn black duct tape.
Yeah, you don't have to do it, and don't feel like you need to do it just do it on 2 sides of the building. Do it on something, that way because that's why I like the GW terrain, because it is a big base, but they're 4 big pieces they have. It's on a big base, but it also has spots that you can be on the terrain and not be hidden. So like that was the hugest issue I had in my game with Ben is even if I go first, I have nowhere to move up the field at all and not just get blown off. And that's what's going to happen at LSO is people are going to have to put that train back by their deployment zone to be able to not get shot off the board. But then the second they walk inside of it, they're just going to get lit up. So, that's just a little rant. Like if you've got, or just make a damn house rule and fucking put a marker on one side and say that you can't see through these windows. Just do, that's just a little rant that I think it will make your games better if you block off some bottom floor windows. So
agreed. I go back and forth, man. I go through phases of thinking they should be open, and then I go through phases of thinking they should be closed. But I think with the game state right now, I'm back to blocking off at least some of the first floors. So
yeah.
All right. Are we going to get into it now? Are we clear?
Distracted by the meme that you just sent, Brian. Sorry.
What's that?
I'm distracted by the meme you just sent.
Yeah, I've been memeing. So, all right. So I guess instead of just complaining about a problem, we have what we think would be some good, reasonable solutions. Dan's kind of been compiling a running list, and so I'm going to let him kind of steer this conversation. But there's some things that have been talked about. One of the easy ones, I think, is maybe Ad Mech not having access to campaign books. So that's a start. Yeah, numero uno, especially with the...
Yeah.
And but from there, I'm going to let you steer this one, Dan, if you want.
Yeah, just going off campaign books, there is 2 campaign books out right now, and hands down, the 2 best things in those books are, and the first one is Cult of Strife, which is used by virtually every single Drukhari player. And then this next one is whatever I don't even know what the hell it's called, the Ad Mech one.
Book of Fire.
Yeah, Book of Fire, the veteran cohort or whatever it's called.
The specific.
Yeah, the specific name. Whatever it's called. And here's the crazy part about it. It is good. It's not actually auto take for Ad Mech, but if they feel like it, they can, and it makes all their shit better. So yeah, that's one big issue. And here's the annoying part about it is like Bellicor. From what I can tell, people think it's some people. The response to that special army rules, whatever, has varied from average to bad.
It's going to be very meh, and if you mix him with Chaos, he can't even take any useful powers because he has to take his dumb powers for his own shit.
Yeah, well,
he gets like the one power is decent. The bad wound one, like make your wounding bad.
Yeah.
Like a debuff.
So the campaign books are, I don't know if they need to be banned, but I feel like Cult of Strife and the Ad Mech ones need to be banned because
to me, I think they should be. I mean, I don't know. It just like there's one army that gets like the crazy fucking buff, and then I don't know. Maybe data sheets can be included because that's where Bellicor's data sheet is, right? Is it in this campaign book?
Well, and that's where I go. That's where originally I was just like, ban them, be done with them. But there so far, everything that I've seen out of both campaign books, if you just don't allow Cult of Strife and the veteran cohort, the rest of it all ranges from average to bad.
I looked at the sister stuff today, and I wasn't too impressed with it.
No, there's one cool thing.
Yep.
But then you also means you're not taking Morven Vol. You're spending a bunch of shit on a very slow character to get into melee. Like you give up so much that it's not that good. So but those are a big problem with Drukhari and Ad Mech. And I actually think if you get rid of Cult of Strife for Drukhari, that probably shaves another couple percentage points off their win percent.
Yeah. I mean, they ignore Overwatch shit, the Warlord traits, all that stuff. I mean,
well, and there's still a lot of people taking double Succubus and taking double, Killy Succubus. And if you get rid of Cult of Strife, they're down to 1 Killy Succubus, and they can take another Succubus who's kind of defensive, I guess. But they don't have the 2 uber cheap murder characters. They just go to 1. So, which I think is a good thing. But anyway, I think those need to be banned. And then the Ad Mech book, they did some serious drugs when they did that thing. So
I'm telling you, man, it's like the Matt Ward. It's his alter ego or something.
Yeah.
Like they dug him out of somewhere and said, like, "Hey, I can't have you writing Grey Knights anymore, but here's this Ad Mech book."
I can appreciate what they were going for. Like a lot of the stuff, you can make a very good argument that it fits the theme of Ad Mech, but it's literally like they wrote the book and then either they never listened to the playtesters or the playtesters are shit, and because it's very blatantly obvious that there's a huge amount of things in that book that are massively underpriced. And that's one problem, is they've got a lot of units that are way undercosted. Some of their stratagems are just mind-bogglingly overpowered for what they do, for what they cost. And then it's like they never tested the how the buff mechanics work in Ad Mech compared to other armies. So those are kind of like the three areas that are the problem, I think. So the first one's the easy one, points. A Skitarii Ranger is 8 points now. A Fire Warrior is 9 points. A Scion is 9 points. A Battle Sister is 11 points. And the Ranger is cheaper than all of them. Has just basically the same or better stat line than all of them. And has a significantly better gun than all of them, in my opinion. And that's not even accounting for all the insane amount of buffs and stratagems they get. And then for having 5 points, the entire unit ignores cover. So
and 5 more points to be buffed anywhere on the table.
Yeah, I mean that's a whole nother. Yeah. Well, we'll touch that in a second. But so
I think the biggest argument before you get too far, Dan, is like you already laid it out, is that these other little ass troop units that are basic to all of these other armies, right, are more expensive than the Ad Mech one, and the Ad Mech one is exponentially better for a fraction of the cost. I mean, it's just, I don't know. Like when that was laid out to me this morning, I was like, okay, yeah. They have to go up in points. I don't know. There could be other nerfs, but that's the biggest one to me.
Dude, when you look at a fucking Scion compared to an Ad Mech infantry, like, it's embarrassing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh my god. Like, they still cannot get over, like, the Scion Strength 3 gun. Fuck
it's
off.
got AP2, though.
Cool. That's neat.
See, and this is what pisses me off about these two is, and people are like, oh, they tested all the books at once. Fuck off. No, they didn't. Because here is a perfect example of what they should have done. So look at Drukhari. There's a stratagem in the Drukhari book that's probably in the entire world has probably been played by, like, in a tournament setting. The stratagem, I don't even know if it's been used 5 times. It's the one where you have to buy a 5-point upgrade on your Raiders, the Shock Prow, to then gain access to the stratagem. So why the hell there should be you can buy an Omnispecs for your unit, and then that gives you access to a stratagem that you can use to then ignore cover, not just give every one of your troops ignore cover for 5 points. So that's where, I mean, that's a massive miss. Vanguard, so I personally think Rangers should be 11 points, maybe 12. And I think Vanguard, and Vanguard right now, if all you did is change their points, they should be 15. But if you nerf their stratagem, they should probably be about 10, 11 points a model. So, and then kind of like what Bam talked about, the infiltrators are hardly even being used by a lot of Ad Mech lists, and they are 17 points a model.
They can scout deploy. They can throw out fucking mortals. Like, just Jesus.
Let's compare them. The best comparison is an Incursor.
Incursors, yep.
Incursor is 21 points. So this thing is faster. It has the same weapon skill. It has the same base strength. It's 1 less toughness. They're both 2 wounds. I think they both have basically the same amount of attacks. Incursors, I think their weapons might be 4 attacks apiece.
Can't they ignore AP though?
The incursors?
Yeah. Or
No.
not the incursors, the infiltrators.
Oh, the infiltrators. Yeah, the infiltrators can be walking around with fucking power swords or some other crazy weapons. So the infiltrators have much better melee weapons.
They do have power swords, but it's not worth it. You take the taser goads, which is it's Tesla in combat.
Yeah,
so exploding sixes.
Yeah, for the same AP
Correct.
you as those guys, you get exploding sixes at strength 6 versus incursor at for strength 4. You know, both the same AP. And then but their base move, you know, they're so much faster. And then on top of it, they have a 5-up invul.
That's the biggest thing.
And they cannot, you know, and then on top of that, you don't get a reroll if you target them within 12 inches. You can't reroll anything with them.
There's also that.
And they are 4 points cheaper than an incursor.
Yeah, they're pretty fucking good.
Yeah, like it's mind-boggling how good those are for their points, and a lot of Ad Mech players aren't even using them yet. So I think Bam is totally right. The first round of nerfs, second round of nerfs, probably only going to touch incursors, but you know, and that's where, to me, incursors should cost, or excuse me, infiltrators. Infiltrators should cost more than incursors, but like you know, by at least a point or two for what they give. And you know, it's one of those things like Ad Mech already had the dogs to give them advanced move. You know, they already I guess, you know, I don't know, infiltrators just shouldn't exist like that in the so and then the last main one is chickens. Having
core is bullshit.
Yeah, core is so stupid on them. Having D3 plus 3 on a D3 plus 3, we've seen it in Death Guard, and it's extremely limited in Death Guard. It's basically entropy cannons. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, but it's on a unit that has no access to rerolls. Okay, and the most you get in your list is 6, but most people only run 4. Then you look at Drukhari. Drukhari have but they're on. You honestly, if you have a unit of Trueborn and then you have 5 or 6 Raiders, I mean that's the most you get. So you're not running around with that much of them, and they're also 36-inch range and only a single shot. Where
and strength 8, which is a big deal, actually.
Yes, strength 8.
You are getting rerolls with them, though, generally speaking, right?
You're getting the usually just a reroll to hit if you're.
The reroll to hit. Yep.
So they're those but I think it's okay in Drukhari strictly because, especially now that the liquefiers are nerfed, Drukhari's range game ain't very good.
No, it's not. They need it. Like they have to crack armor somehow, you know.
Yep. So I think it's fine in Drukhari. Ad Mech though, each chicken for 75 points. For some reason they also their last cans and auto cans got better. They got an extra point. They got an extra save.
Yes.
Didn't they get something else buffed on them too, or is it just those 2?
That should be it, because they used to have a 4-up, now they have a 3-up armor save. Then their last the auto cans got 2 more shots, and then the last cannons went to
Well, don't those motherfuckers in their way get them hit on 2s?
Oh,
well, that's the thing. Like, you take away core, yeah, you're getting rid of a lot of the rerolls, but like you can just use the Doctrinas to hit on 2s. So, I mean, it's a good way to nerf them, but I don't know if that's enough. They probably need a points bump.
Well, they 1000% need a points bump.
Yeah, they probably.
They need.
Well,
to
I mean,
go
when
up.
motherfuckers are rocking 10 of them, and then they still have like 3 20-man units in their list of other shit. Like, come on, like we're obviously way under points here.
Because like at that point, you're not even talking about like, well, I have my anti-tank weapons. It's I have my anti-every unit in your army because I have so many of them.
Right. Oh yeah.
And they're just that efficient.
6 of them. I think I ran the math. It's pretty trivial to shoot off a knight with 6 of them, and most lists run 6 at least. So I mean they are massively undercosted. But anyway, so those are just the top offenders. The disgusting part about the Ad Mech book is you can go through almost the entire book, and it's not always points. There's a handful of things I think are still undercosted, like the Skitarii Marshal for 45 points.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
by far.
if you're a Necron player and you play Net, you just, as far as I'm concerned, you can just slap your opponent for free because that thing being 45 points is a crime.
I mean,
But
he's
anyway,
a piece of shit. Like, he doesn't do anything but, like, give out buffs. Like, he doesn't shoot, he doesn't close combat.
Necrons have a
Yeah, but Necrons are the same way.
and even Space Marines. You know, I was paying 100 point or what 95 points for testing out a Phobos captain that just walks around with no AP on attacks and one gun. So I mean, I'm paying. A lot of other armies are paying double the points for something that doesn't do anything anyway. Yeah. So, but there's a whole bunch of stuff. Point adjustments that army needs to go up. So that's kind of the main issues there. Stratagems.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get into next. I think there's a lot of stratagem adjustment that needs to go up.
Well, yeah. So there's a lot of stratagems. So we'll just hit the main offenders, and there's more than we'll cover because there's that many. But so there's so everyone has a strat for 2 CP to make 1 unit auto pass morale. Ad Mech, if they're within 6 inches of an objective, every one of their units can pass morale checks for
1 CP.
For
one fucking
I probably
CP.
use that strat the most last weekend. I think I used it the most.
When I was doing a test game, I think I talked about last week. You know, I went first against Ad Mech. Finally, was dumping damage into all of their units, and I forgot about that stratagem, and he used it, and I about went over the table at him because I was like, oh, I mean, I knocked about 6 or 7 dudes off of these couple units. At least maybe they'll lose some more and be down to like 10 models. Nope, just auto pass. So there's that one. That's a big big one, and the other two, there's the auto advanced 6-1. I'm a little annoyed by. We won't talk about that one too much. But then the 2 main ones are the Ranger strat. So for anybody who doesn't remember, Rangers used to be a rapid fire gun normally. So they used to be rapid fire, 30-inch range. So if you're within 15 inches of them, they got to shoot twice. Well, they made it a strat, I think 2 CP, and I think, what is the name of it?
It was Solar Flare.
That's a relic.
Well, we'll talk about that. So Galvanic Volley Fire. It's 2 CP. Use a stratagem in your shooting phase. Control a ranged unit from your army. Select to shoot. Till the end phase, Galvanic rifles models in that unit are equipped with have a type characteristic of Rapid Fire 2. So they're normally a 30 to 39-inch range heavy 2-shot gun, which is all just insane. So now if you're within 15 to 19 inches of them, they are rapid fire 2, so they're shooting 4 shots a model at you, which is just insane for 2 CP. And then the other one is that's the Ranger stratagem, the Vanguard stratagem.
Enriched rounds.
Yep, enriched round. This is so. And for people that don't know, when those guys shoot normally on a 6-up to hit at auto wounds, does not work against vehicles. But normally it's just a strength 3 gun, so it's kind of whatever. But Ad Mech can make it a strength. It's like an 18-inch range. Strength 3 assault weapon. They can make it a 24 to 27-inch range gun and have AP. But the stratagem.
Keep talking. I'll be right back.
Yep. The stratagem is using the shooting phase when a Vanguard unit is basically selected to shoot. Till the end of the phase, each time model. Actually, it's when Adeptus Mechanicus unit from your army is selected to shoot until the end of the phase. Each time model makes an attack with a radium weapon against an enemy unit, excluding vehicle unit. An unmodified hit roll of 4-up automatically was target.
Yeah, when you have fucking 3 shots out of a unit that's a 20-man blob. I mean,
it's 60 shots that auto wound with AP1 on a 4-up to hit.
Yeah, and it's pretty gross.
And it's 1 command point.
Yeah. So those are the big strats. To me, I feel like the way to nerf them, besides the CP bump, it would be to bump down the unit size along with the points bump of Vanguard and Rangers.
And that's part of I am torn a lot on the unit size part of it because we'll get into that next, the buffs. But the unit size, that is a way to fix the problem. I still think so. For those who read the internet, Goonhammer put out a thing, and I do like their solution to the galvanic volley fire of making it require you to be stationary. So
Oh, okay.
that's what their solution was, that you could only use a strat if you did not move on that unit. So that helps a lot, I think. And then their solution for enriched round was to make it wound on a 5-up. But I'm not actually a big fan of that, because if you actually run the math, say you're shooting at a toughness 4 unit,
It's still a metric fuck ton.
yeah, it doesn't actually change the math. It goes from I think it was 20. Normally you'd get to 33 wounds, and it goes down to 27. So it's still just an insane amount. So I think it either needs to go to give them basically a poison, so they can auto wound on a 4-up to wound, for a CP. So basically turn them into basically poison weapons, or you just let their base ability of auto wounding on a 6-up, you just let it work against a vehicle, and that way they can do some damage to vehicles. So I think either one of those would be a better solution than changing it to a 5-up to proc it. That's just insane. So, and here's my other issue, and again, we're talking about the main offenders, Rangers, Vanguard, and Chickens. Ad Mech on their priest units have a 1 CP, just 1 CP in melee with some auto fight last.
Yeah, that one's really good.
Yeah, and not every army needs to fight last. Needs to have that ability. A gunline army having that on a decent melee unit that shits out mortal wounds is kind of broken.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. This is kind of my issue with the Ad Mech book compared to the Drakari book. Drakari, you could pick out 6 things and they kind of did that. They've kind of actually nerfed a handful of those, and you kind of start seeing some actual results. Ad Mech, the first couple rounds of nerfs that GW does, all it's going to do is move what people are playing. It's going to take 4 or 5 rounds of nerfs to bring it down, because they've got their book is just so deep. Anyway, so there's some stratagems that are super need to be adjusted, and again, depending on who you talk to, everyone's got a different opinion of how you adjust it, but I think something has to be done. And then the buff stacking, and this is where kind of what Duncan was saying, you'd reduce the unit size in half on Vanguards and Rangers. That would fix, so the buffs, for people who don't know, I'm going to forget them. They can put transhuman on a unit during the command phase. They can put a unit in cover in their command phase. They can put...
Not quite. It's if they have the benefit of cover, they get an additional.
Yeah, they get super cover if they're in cover.
They get additional +1 to their saving throw.
They're what do you call it? They can give a unit plus 6 inches of range and +1 AP just automatically goes off.
Yeah, that's what the Manipulus does.
Yep, Manipulus. And then there is, God, I can't even remember all of them. The Marshal can remove the negative side effect of their doctrine.
Correct. That's correct.
Whatever. God, what else can they do? There's 8
the Logi lets them
for
AP 1 and 2.
Or fall back and shoot.
And then there's another Warlord trait that lets you fall back and still shoot. That usually comes from a Marshal or somebody else. So,
yeah.
I mean, there's a shit ton of stuff, but I think that covers most of it.
Yeah, and so there's kind of 2 things that annoy the shit out of me, especially after somebody just got a Sister's book. So it's 1 CP, or no, excuse me, it's a free thing for Ad Mech to give an extra AP to one of their units and 6 inches of range. Sisters, in order to do, I think, let me pull this up real quick. I don't have it right here with me, I don't think. But anyway, Sisters, they have basically a chaplain power. So they have an ability to give an extra AP, and I want to say it's only on 6s to hit or 6 to wound, but it's nowhere near as good as the Ad Mech one, and it only goes off on a freaking 3-up, and Ad Mech just automatically goes off. And I feel like also, for some reason, aren't a lot of the Ad Mech buff ranges 9 inches?
It's fucking really annoying to remember which ones are and which ones aren't. But
Oh,
specifically,
poor Duncan.
dude, no, it drives me crazy because I feel like I'm doing something wrong, or I could, get away with like being further away from my characters. But the galvanic field, which is the one that buffs your range and the AP from the manipulus, that one's 9 inches. I think that's it though.
Yeah. Well, they have some that are 3, some that are 9. It's all over. But anyway, so that's kind of one of
This
the other
Qatari
issues.
martial control edict, which is the one that lets them ignore the Doctrina, is also 9 inches.
Or isn't that the whole board too?
Or the whole board, if they have data tether.
Yeah,
Which not everybody does, but a shit ton do.
a shit ton do. Yeah. So that's the thing. You take some of those buffs and you put them on a single unit. Like you put transhuman. So people are all talking about the snake bite orcs today getting a bad version of transhuman. It's not. It's transhuman on a toughness 5 orc is kind of meh.
Yeah.
Transhuman, and it's a partial transhuman because it doesn't
If
work against.
If it were against all strength, it would be good, but the 8 and above
Yeah.
makes it significantly less cool.
Yeah, but then for taking a 20-man toughness 3 unit and slapping transhuman on them, that's a huge force multiplier. So, and then the only other thing to talk about would be Lucius. Because
that's
Goonhammer.
another fucking.
Yeah, Lucius. For those who aren't aware, virtually 90 to 95% of Ad Mech players are all playing Lucius because it makes those big blocks virtually. There is nothing in the game that kills them effectively. Even other Ad Mech players don't kill them effectively.
Can confirm.
Yeah, because Lucius, what it does, gives you that +1 if it's against damage 1, +1 to your save against damage 1. So the Goonhammer guys actually did propose, I think, a much better is you reduce the AP of attacks by 1. So rather than getting an extra save, so like against bolters that have no AP, you just you go from a 4 to a 3, or a 3 to a 2. You just ignore 1 point of AP. So I think that's kind of a better solution. But yeah, and then we haven't even talked about the relics. Ad Mech have honestly some pretty baller relics. The Lucius one is the deep strike, so they can just pick up a unit and deep strike it.
That one, goddamn, it saved me so many times. Like I get stuck in combat, and I just be like, "Well, I'm not stuck anymore."
Yeah, so if you ever touch, that's the thing too, is you can't touch an Ad Mech opponent. And actually, a good Ad Mech opponent, they'll at least have 2 or 3 ways to get out of combat and still function. So, but and right there, that's the quick and dirty overview of the broken stuff. We could talk another 30 minutes about the rest of the broken stuff in the book that people haven't even started using fully. So, but and here's the thing too. So having played through, I didn't play 6th and 7th edition, but I started playing again in 8th, and I've played against Yanari when they were good, and yes, they were a good player, could wield them well, but you still I'll just use myself as an example. I wasn't ever that worried about playing them because I was like, well, there's still ways to beat them. Same thing with the Castellan. You could tweak you had to tweak your list a little bit, and you could still beat it though. The Iron Hands Leviathan was pretty cancerous, but the flip side of that was a list that just didn't die. It did kill some things, but it didn't kill that much. The Drakari, using just Drakari from 3 months ago, extremely oppressive when they had liquefiers. They're a lot better now, but when liquefiers are out, you could still realistically have ways to beat them because they're short range. Ad Mech though, any equally skilled person or a person that understands their list, you honestly have very little chance of winning. To the point that honestly, like the next time I play against Ad Mech in a tournament, I got to go reread the rules because I got to go reread the concession rules because I wonder if there's a way you can maybe fuck them out of some points. But I'm just not gonna waste my time trying to play that game because as it sits now, it's virtually impossible. So
It's real stupid.
so before anyone says, "Oh, AdMech's win rate is it was only 65%." AdMech, so Drakari's was so high because Drakari didn't have the gun, so people had to run forward. Well, when they were running forward, they ended up even bad players were inadvertently denying their opponent points and scoring points because of that. AdMech, some lesser skilled AdMech players, they don't play him aggressive enough. They don't understand the board state, so they'll miss out on primaries and secondaries because they're too busy just bending their opponent over and taking off all their models. So,
why you fucking just at me next time, Dan? Jesus.
yeah. The floor on AdMech is lower than the floor on when Drakari, what their original book was. So that's why, AdMech is not as high necessarily as a win rate, but it's probably not as high of a win rate, but it is more oppressive. And I think as people, Drakari was a fairly simple game plan: run forward and flamer stuff and charge stuff. AdMech has got a little more options at their disposal. So I think it's taking people a little bit longer to understand. Like it's like David Villarreal. I don't think he'll ever, against somebody who's got some jump pack troops or some ability to reach the distance. I don't think he'll ever make that mistake again in moving his units forward, because it's like, I'll just stay back a little bit and then shoot you off the board. So I think AdMech's win rate is going to keep going up as the weeks progress. But anyway, there is many, many, many different ways to do something to bring AdMech in line. The rate GW is going, it could be another month, and I don't know if we'll see anything. And if we see something, the first round of it's probably going to be a gentle slap on the wrist. We're probably going to be getting bent over by AdMech for the next 6 months before they're actually brought down to a playable level. If that, I don't even have confidence that will happen. And then I don't have, with whatever FLG, they made some statement on their podcast last night. I briefly listened to it, that they don't want to take away anybody's toys. Well, newsflash, guys, there is a reason you haven't sold out Lone Star Open yet. Is because people don't want to waste time and money to go down there and just get dick stomped by AdMech when have no real chance of actually playing the game. So, but I don't expect any of the super majors to actually do anything either. So, talk to your TOs, talk to your opponents, and just tell them that, hey, let's play something else, or propose some of the Goonhammer nerfs. Any of the Goonhammer nerfs, your AdMech opponent will still have a big advantage on you power level wise. So, but at least it's brought down a level. So that's my only thoughts is if you want to play the game and play against AdMech, just do something, and as far as I'm concerned, don't waste your time. So
yeah, this problem is you're not going to make anybody happy. And the thing is I think TO's got a way, which we're in the situation away, is, do you piss off the AdMech players and, make everybody else happy? Or do you, make everybody else just not want to attend the event because you have these, meta chasers out there with their list now? And that's kind of where it's at, is like, it's looking at, like, I'd rather piss off the whatever percentage of the field that's AdMech and have everybody feel like they can come to the event and actually compete than, just fucking them out of playing 40k because they know what the dominant thing's going to be.
Well,
what would be funny would be, like, if you're like, okay, you 16 guys that showed up with AdMech, here's your bracket over here, and here's a regular tournament for everybody else. Just do it that way. Be like, okay, you're the AdMech champion, and okay, you're the 40k champion. But
well, I think if you think about, and just from reading different comments people have made and on the different Reddit posts and stuff, if you figure there's 100 person in that tournament, there's going to be 10 AdMech players there at least. honestly, half of those Ad Mech players are totally okay with some nerfs to their faction because they're the ones that actually played it beforehand and don't and actually like the faction for the faction rather than just meta chasing. So when you actually look at it, I think the actual amount of people that are going to get butthurt about doing some kind of house rules is pretty low. I'm sure they're going to be. There definitely be some of those that are going to be vocal about it. So, but I mean, and honestly, a lot of the meta chasers, the vast majority of meta chasers, and if they bitch about it, it's like, bro, you know how this is going to go down anyway.
Chasing the dragon will do that to you.
Yeah, I mean, it happens every single time. So,
what if we start attacking people's egos and just call them a bitch for playing Ad Mech?
Dude, I literally have.
What if I told you that playing the Army of the Month that everyone knows is objectively better doesn't make you a good player? Wow.
That's one of my memes. Is the car that's swerving off the interstate, and it's to go straight is get good and to get off go buy Ad Mech.
Buy Ad Mech. Yep.
So.
I can see Ben's making a run at the top spot in the ITC. So, I think it's silly to almost roll up with a BB gun when everybody else is sporting the AK-47.
You know what happens when you do shit like that? And this is gonna sound shitty, and I like Ben a lot, and I don't mean him any disrespect. When you win fucking big ass events and like Lord Marshal Conference and shit like that in ITC, and then they go, oh, you jumped on, here's your asterisk on your fucking win. Like, we can't take the prize away from you, but everyone fucking thinks it every time they, see that person.
And I'll pile onto that point. I think right now Kelling is in first place of Lord Marshal, Drakari, and then Ben is in second place. And it's Ad Mech, Drakari, whatever. So,
What am I at? Are you looking at?
Oh no, I just know those two guys are playing the top factions. Here, I can pull it up real quick. But I mean that this kind of piling on. It's like yeah, you guys got first. Just playing the most busted thing the game has seen in a while. So, but I mean, again. I understand what you're saying. If Ben's making a run for it, yeah. I mean, honestly, would I go to Lone Star Open without Ad Mech right now? Fuck no, I wouldn't waste my time. So I think there's something to say about that. But it's frustrating that GW, especially look back at Iron Hands. Iron Hands caught him for kind of a loop, but it's still within the first month they were dropping nerfs on Iron Hands. It was about 4 weeks after Iron Hands came out that they put the first round of nerfs out, and then they put another round out. I think a couple weeks after that. But we're already
just FYI, you're third and I'm fourth, and I'm fourth with chaos, and chaos. So
what am I third with? I've got Orcs, Imperium, Astartes.
Yeah.
So and then let's look what we got here. Ben has got Ad Mech, Drakari, Black Templars, Eldari, and then Kelling is Drakari, Eldari, Drakari. So got a little bit of Eldari thrown in there. So, but yeah. I totally I get what you're coming from as far as Ben. It totally makes sense if you're going to that level of event. You just have to, because especially they're not gonna drop any FAQs unless it's from GW. So
yeah, it's true. We'll see. We're trying to stay flexible. I told Duncan and Matt and I were talking today. We're probably gonna hang out a week or so and see if GW does anything, and then if GW does nothing, we're gonna have to make a decision because we already got people that don't want to come just because of the way the meta is.
And hemorrhage tickets like a motherfucker.
Yeah, and it's just kind of a bad situation, and we're past the cutoff date for refunds, so it's people are just basically sacrificing a ticket because they don't want to deal with the bullshit, and I don't want to put people in that situation, so we got to figure out some kind of action. But
the funny thing too is let's just use FLG as an example. They don't want to do any house, they don't want to do any major house rules, but they'll do minor house rules on they did ACO because they used. I mean, that one they did use the WTC FAQ basically. So I don't actually know what they're doing for a Lone Star as far as an FAQ, but at least the last time I looked at that, there was a lot of very subjective rulings in that WTC pack. So, which kind of is its own house rule set, to be honest. So, I don't know. It would be nice to see TOs not wait for GW to do something because they're doing a piss poor job right now.
Yeah, they're half in and out of the ivory tower. So I think we covered all the bases tonight. Let's call her a night there.
Long ass podcast tonight, boys.
Yeah, it is. So I'm past my old man bedtime, so I gotta call her. But Alex, good to see you back on tonight, man. So
yeah, man, I'll try to be around more. I've just been busy as hell lately. So
yeah, next week I would like to get a game of Sigmar in, so I can kind of figure out the new edition.
Down with it.
And Duncan, 2 weeks in a row, I'm gonna give you some kind of a medal or a certificate.
I'll go on my wall of participation trophies over here.
And Dan, appreciate the work in the Ad Mech stuff tonight for the show. It was. I don't know. I hope people enjoyed it and actually got some good feedback for it.
Well,
so.
and if people are like, oh, the next book, I don't know. The orc leaks I'm seeing so far does not. My boner is flaccid right now. So.
You're thinking like sisters level, right? Is that what you're saying?
Well, the stuff that's been kind of spoiled so far, honestly, a lot of their existing models just seem to have taken unnecessary nerfs. So,
except bikes.
Yeah, I don't know anything about bikes, but apparently their custom force field is going to a 6-up. 6-up. Yeah.
That's real bad.
Yeah, well, custom jobs are worse. I don't. The custom jobs got nerfed. It sounds like buggies and met guns don't split anymore.
Well, that's good, actually. They probably
what?
Fucking met guns have needed a rewrite forever.
Yeah,
met guns I'm fine with not, but buggies on their giant fucking bases.
Yeah, it's because everything else. You're right, buggies. Yes, I agree with you.
Buggies, for people who don't know, are almost on their base is almost the same as a knight, and then to have to be in coherency, I don't know. But so far, a lot of the rumors. The only one that has got me a little erect is the Great White Squig, because that guy looks like, from the rumors, mulches medium infantry pretty well. I told Cookie he's going to one-shot his Telemon. Probably won't happen, but there's a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah, I think the Squig's attacks. I think it has like 3 attacks, and if it rolls a 6 to wound, it does 4 mortals. So
just roll better, man.
Yeah,
just roll better.
So but we should know by next cast how orcs are looking.
Yeah, we definitely for sure.
Man, I didn't think they needed to nerf everything. I just didn't want them to be able to crash their dumbass plane for 1 billion mortal wounds.
Yeah, that is pretty annoying.
Well, so what's funny is that actually terrified me. But that I told one of the guys who brought this weekend, I said, well, and the funny thing is, like, with the meta right now, the mortal wound, the burner bomber doesn't do jack shit against Ad Mech or Drakari. It's just dead points against those guys. So, but.
Well, you don't want to do D3 mortals to the Raiders?
Oh no, it's 3. It's 3 mortals.
Oh, whatever.
But I bet that's gone. I don't see them keeping that around. So
yeah, I don't think so.
Oh, I told my wife. I said I'm waking up really early on. Like 8 o'clock or something on Saturday, just so I can read all the orc spoilers if they're out there, and figure out if I need to go buy stuff real quick or if I'm set. So.
I'm sure all this shit's already sold out, so
yeah, probably.
You just have to buy it all. Just prepare now. But
yeah, which I basically did. So,
Lordy. All right, fellas, let's call her there. Alex, any last words?
No, I think we covered it.
All right, Duncalicious.
Good.
Dan.
Nope.
I think we got 1 or 2 tickets left for Monkey. So if you want to go to Monkey, get your fucking ticket.
Yeah,
we're
there's not many left.
We're like 97 or 98, so there's like 2 more tickets if you want to go. And we will see you guys next week. Hopefully, got some orc information for you guys, and be dope if they slid an FAQ in there. So remember, if wargaming was easy, it would be your mom.
Game over, man. It's game over.